Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Let's rewind it a bit. So hi, my name is Tempest and I am currently a level 82 creator from Glass Time server, and I use a two-handed axe build, which is also called a glass cannon build, which is why I am sprawling in the floor. And I'm just gonna share my build and I hope you like it. Back to me being murdered. Alright, so let's start with stats allocation. So for most of my skill tree, the damage multiplier comes from intelligence and physical attack. So I will separate my stat allocation into two setups, PVE and PvP. So for PvE, I max out intelligence first, then put the rest into strength. The reason is simple: STR gives additional physical attack, and more physical attack means more damage output for farming and boss hunting. For PvP, I still max out intelligence first, but the remaining points go into VIT so that I could survive in any PvP scenario basically. So for my equipment, I use a two-handed axe. I'm currently using a heavy knight axe as my main weapon. For enchants, you have two options: Prontera enchants, or you can go for Payan enchants. For cards, I'm using size cards together with Goblin Archer cards for physical attack. For my talisman, I'm using a wolf head orb, and for my enchants, I am currently using Geffen enchants and Payan enchants. For cards, I'm using an Eclipse card and a Rao card. For both of my accessories, I use a Lunatic fur earrings. My enchants are still Geffen enchants and Payan enchants, and I use Greatest General cards. For my armor, I'm still using level 70 Moonlight set, and for my enchants, for PvE, I'm using Prontera enchant. For my PvP, I use Geffen enchants for PvP damage reductions. And for my cards and for my headgear, I only have one 2-slot headgear, and these are my cards. And for my pets, I currently use a Rainbow Eclipse, but you can opt to use a Baby Nyan for PvE or a Mastering for PvE. For PvP, I currently use a Purple Isis, and these are my skills. I use a Blessing and 2 crowd controls. And for my secondary pets, I use 3 base mastery skills: Strength, Intelligence, and Vitality. And for my shadow equipment, these are my skills, and these are my priority stats. For my skills, this is my PVE skill build I'm currently using. I'll put the priority skills on the screen, so feel free to pause the video if you want to check them. Again, this is just based on my build and play style, so this is what works for me. So for my PVE skill rotation, this is how I usually set it up. I use this for boss hunting, so this setup is focused more on consistent damage, so feel free to adjust it depending on your stats, haste, and situation. For grinding, I only use demonic fire, and I adjust the skill level depending on my current haste. This helps me with the rotation smooth and efficient. For my PvP skills, I'll also put them on the screen, so feel free to pause the video. This setup is pretty much similar to my PVE skills, but I added a few situational skills. I use Bloodsucker mostly against priests, Hellplant when assassins or melee players get too close, and Marine Sphere plus Demonstration for poking enemies from a safer distance. Finally, for my Homunculus setup, I use Leaf in PvP because of the healing and emergency escape, especially for the CC immunity when things get messy. And for boss hunting, I use Amistyr to bulk up my teammates, which is really useful during long boss fights. I think that's it for my creator build guide. I hope you don't actually copy this build because bottles are crazy expensive for PvE, and honestly this is not a F2P friendly at all. Anyway, if you have any creator or alchemist questions, feel free to comment below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability, and keep on roxing. See you in the next one.